我小时候我有一同学，我春节上那儿玩去了，人家他爸人家他妈特意买的羊肉给我单包的饺子，吃了回来一问我一说好，我爷上去就给我一大嘴巴。
但是原来的应该是木头做的，对吧？ What we are standing outside here is actually the Qian Mosque. In this book here, it says very clearly that the mosque here was closed down in 1949 and used for other purposes. Wang Shuren, who is a good friend of mine, she has told me that when she was a kid, she used to come here in the late 1950s and the 1960s. But hey, then that would have been impossible for Wang Shuren to come in here when she was a kid. So today we will be going to her place just down here in order to get some answers. And one of the things I would really like to understand is that where were the Muslims of Beijing different from the Han Chinese when it came to their way of life? Being clean was part of their religion, and not only their own bodies should be clean, what they ate should also be clean. So in this way, it was important for the Muslims to observe whole other traditions and customs than the Han Chinese. But I expect that all of this would start to change when we get to the Cultural Revolution. It's interesting for me that in an authoritative book like this one, it is as if everything changed the moment the communists they arrived in 1949. But my hunch is that this is simply not true. It was much more of a gradual process. And another thing I would also like to understand is it says here that you would then use the mosque for other purposes. But what purposes were that? Those are only some of the questions that we have to Wang Shuren and Lao Hai, those two Muslims that have been living here in the Dar es Salaam area for many, many years. Look at this. What you can see here, almost falling apart, is actually the old shop time of the Wang family. These two characters here, Hui Hui, they mean Muslim. Wait a minute. I would like to give a little bit more context to Hui Hui, because actually Hui Hui is quite a tricky term, because some people might object that Hui Hui or Hui is actually only referring to one Chinese Muslim minority group. And that is correct. But if we look at it from a distinctively historical Beijing angle, then all of the Muslim areas of the city was actually called the Hui areas, or like the Hui Hui shop areas. So in this way, Hui in a Beijing context meant Muslim. So if you come with me in here, then we will see what kind of answers we will get.
什么时候改的知道吗？
不，我都不知道。
中国成立搞这个武器工厂，
武器工厂。
对。
那个是大概
就是叫把家庭妇女都出来上班。
那个是大跃进吗？
不是大跃进，
不是大跃进。
文化大革命后
是吗？
武器工厂。
武器干校都是文化大革命开始，以后开始
的。以前还是开着。
还是开着的。
你听着啊，我跟你说啊，他那里边最后改成什么？你知道？改成大栅栏印刷厂。 叫大栅栏印刷厂。
所以它都是大栅栏印刷厂啊，那个。
对，改成了大栅栏印刷厂，
是吧？所以他在这里面说的是1987年就恢复了老样子。
对，可能是他跟1980年差不多。
你小时候大概是多少人？
小的时候那会儿人多，那会儿跟现在不一样。现在像我这德行，很少进去，一抽烟开始喝酒。
对，
为啥不进去？
是。
为什么不进去？一般这老上岁数这帮人
啊，
他明着他不骂你，背后他也骂你，所以我就不进去。
We've just finished just around an hour talk with Lao Hai and Wang Shuren. Lao Hai did clarify what happened to the mosque. After 1949, when the communists came in, he says that it would actually pretty much be functioning as before. It was not, in the beginning, taken over by the government. It would still rely on private donations.
你比如说他是回民，我是回民，你们凑到一块儿要盖一清真寺，说回归叫先捏的。
明白了，那有点意思。所以完全是私人
全是
的，
由每一个回民往这儿。
现在那个也是吗？
现在不用说了，现在没有靠这个。他只不过说装修啊，或者怎么着，那都是医协也好，还是国家掏钱也好。
对，那个是国家掏钱。
When we get to the Cultural Revolution, this would change. The mosque was closed down, and Lao Hai is saying that it was taken over by the neighborhood committee. Now you would, for just around 20 years, have a print company. But when we get to the time after 1978, Deng Xiaoping, he takes over, and you in the early 1980s start to move out all of the productions of the hutongs. Then you would also move out the printer, and you would choose to revive the mosque. It would be completely renovated. Lao Hai said that it was one mess after it had been a production. And in this process, it was also the government that would fund this completely. So the new mosque, or like the old mosque that has been renovated, is a completely other organization than the one that was closed.
我很想明白是那个阿语，你会说吗？
不会，
完全不会。对，因为我
问候您会吧？
问候这当然。
简单的他会，
简单的。
您说一个大哥。
那来嘛来困。
OK， 对，来来嘛把它困。
所以你小时候。